Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Are you tired of choking on the fumes coming off your laser engraver or 3D printer? If you're working out of a garage like I am, with no windows and no real way to vent that smoke or chemical smell, it can get pretty nasty fast. Today, I've got the perfect solution. I have designed and built a simple folding exhaust insert that fits right under your garage door and seals it completely, giving you a clean, safe way to run proper ventilation without cutting into walls or modifying your garage. It's easy, effective, and honestly, one of the best upgrades I've made to my workspace. And the best part? I've included a free downloadable diagram in the description so you can build one of your own. So, are you ready to save your lungs and take control of your shop's air quality? Let's get into it. Here are all the components you'll need to build this project. Off camera, I went ahead and trimmed the 2-inch rigid insulation board down to 48 by 6 inches. And I cut the tempered hardboard to those same dimensions so everything lines up perfectly later on. Now, besides the main fume extractor setup, I'm also adding a quick connect dehumidifier hose fitting. That's totally optional, but if you live somewhere humid, like I do here in Florida, it can make a big difference during those heavy summer months. Keeping moisture under control helps protect your equipment and keeps your workspace a lot more comfortable. I'm starting by marking the spot where I want the vent opening to go. To do that, I'm using a 4-inch duct connector flange as my template. You can place your vent anywhere that works best for your setup, but for my build, I'm positioning it on the very first panel, right in line with where my laser engraver sits. This makes the airflow as direct and efficient as possible, and it keeps the hose run nice and short. Once everything is lined up, I just trace the outline so I know exactly where to cut. Just in case I decide to mechanically fasten the 4-inch duct connector flange, I'm going ahead and drilling the matching through holes in the hardboard. This gives me the option to secure the flange with screws later if I want a tighter, more snug fit. Even if you end up using adhesive, having those holes pre-drilled makes alignment a lot easier and keeps everything looking clean and professional. To cut the opening through both hardboard panels at the same time, I'm using a 4-inch hole saw. This gives me a clean, perfectly sized cut that matches the duct connector flange. Cutting both panels together also keeps the edges aligned, so everything fits tightly once the flange is installed. After that, I transfer the opening onto the rigid insulation board by using the hardboard panel as my template. This keeps everything perfectly aligned and ensures the vent hole will match up cleanly once all the layers are assembled. It also saves time, since I don't have to measure anything twice. Using a retractable utility knife with a thin, sharp blade, I start cutting out the 4-inch opening where the duct connector flange will sit. I take my time and make a series of short, controlled cuts, working around the circle little by little. Once the opening has been completely cut through, gently push the cut piece through the hole to remove it. Take your time and work slowly to avoid bending or tearing the surrounding material. With a clean removal, the hole is ready for the duct connector flange to fit perfectly. To attach the hardboard panels to the rigid insulation board, I'll be using weldwood contact cement. I start by brushing the contact cement onto a small section of the rigid insulation board. Don't worry about the glue damaging the foam. This insulation board has a laminated plastic film on both sides that protects it, so you can be generous with the adhesive. Applying it evenly ensures a strong bond and makes it easier to position the hardboard panels accurately. I apply a small amount of adhesive to the duct connector flanges, align it over the opening, and press it into place. Using the duct connector flange as a guide, I carefully position the hardboard panel, align it properly, and press it firmly against the rigid insulation board to seal it in place. Taking your time here ensures a tight, even fit. Next, I use a 1¼ inch hole saw to cut an opening through both hardboard panels for the dehumidifier hose. Drilling both layers together keeps the holes perfectly aligned and ensures a snug fit for the hose. After securing the other panel and duct connector flange, this is how it looks like. To secure all 4 edges of the double-sided foam panel and keep it from separating, I use aluminum foil tape. This not only seals any gaps, but also creates solid reinforced edges for the garage door to rest on evenly. Make sure to keep it taut, because this stuff has a mind of its own and loves to stick to itself. Trust me, I learned that the hard way, as demonstrated here by yours truly. After that little fiasco, here's the finished panel with all edges neatly sealed. Next, I move on to sealing the interior of both duct connector flanges. For this step, I cut additional strips of aluminum foil tape to use for sealing. I begin by carefully peeling off the paper backing and folding the tape gently. Then I align it, position it carefully, and press it down securely to hold it in place. Once all the strips are taped on, this is how it looks like. 1 down and 3 more to go. Wish me luck. After completing all 4 panels, I use the hinge as a template to mark the screw hole locations. This makes sure everything lines up properly. Using a 3-inch drill bit sized for a number 6 machine screw, I start by drilling the first hole at the center. This ensures proper alignment before moving on to the remaining holes. Next, I drill the upper hole, keeping a slow and steady pace to ensure it stays perfectly aligned and clean. Finally, I drill the bottom hole. 1 edge is complete. Now, 5 more edges to go. Here are all 4 panels, with their holes drilled and matching letters marked for easy alignment. Now it's time to start assembling everything. Now it's time to join the first 2 panels together. I'm inserting 3 screws to attach the hinges. Each screw is a 2½ inch 632 flathead machine screw. Then flip the panel over to finish the installation. With the screws in place, the next step is adding the hardware on the back. Each fender washer is slipped on one at a time, giving the hinge a solid surface to tighten against and preventing the hardboard from cracking under pressure. After that, the hex nuts go on, and I thread them by hand just until they make light contact with the panel. This helps everything stay aligned without locking the hardware down too early. Once all 3 nuts are started, the panel gets flipped over again so the hinges can be tightened from the front. Using a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, I gradually snug each screw, working my way across the hinge so the pressure is even. The goal here isn't to crank them down as hard as possible, but to pull the hinge tight enough that the connection feels solid without warping the panels. Taking a steady, controlled approach gives you a clean, professional finish and keeps everything perfectly aligned for the remaining panels. And here are the first set of panels fully joined together. The hinges actually work even better than I expected, giving the whole assembly a nice, solid movement when it folds. With this section complete, I will repeat the same process for the remaining 2 panels. To pump out the water from the dehumidifier exhaust hose, I feed a 12-inch extension hose through the opening in the insert panel. To keep it from shifting or pulling out during use, 2 rubber grommets are added to secure the hose firmly in place and create a clean, tight seal. And there you have it, both exhaust ports fully assembled. This final step ensures a solid, airtight seal when the garage door closes over the inserts. Here, I'm using contact cement to attach leftover strips I had laying around of rigid polyethylene foam, each one cut into 2-inch wide pieces. These strips act like a cushion, compressing slightly under the weight of the garage door and creating a tight seal along the bottom edge. I apply this foam to all the lower edges of both folding inserts so the entire setup seals it in place once the door comes down. With these final pieces installed, I'll call this project complete and ready for action. Here's what they look like now that the contact cement has fully cured. With everything secured, it's officially ready for a test run. Hope everything fits. So far, everything looks great. The inserts fit perfectly against the garage floor. Now I'll connect the dehumidifier drain hose using a brass quick connect fitting. I'll use the same setup outside, but with a mesh added so critters can't sneak in. Now to attach the outer fitting. Next, the 4-inch flexible duct. I'll secure it with this double loop hose clamp to make sure all the fumes are directed safely outside. For the outside exhaust, I'm using an aluminum duct with an air vent cover that also has a mesh, adding a second layer of protection so no other critters can get through this one either. And here's the finished installation. Wish me luck! If you enjoyed today's build, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell, share, and comment below. To help support the channel, check out my Etsy store at toyandpropmasters.etsy.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next build.